Welcome back to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast. Today on the show, Justin Flitter, the founder of NewZealand.AI in 2017, who helps and guides companies through the concept, the understanding of AI, implementation of those tools, and fundamentally, what is AI in the corporate world or in our society as it is today. So, Justin, welcome to the show.
Kia ora. Good to be here.
Thanks, man. So one of the couple of things I wanted to check with you first is you founded NewZealand.AI in 2017. Now, a lot of us might think 2017 feels like yesterday, but in concept, it's 8 years ago. Like COVID was 5 years ago. And before that, where did that come along?
Pre-OpenAI, pre-ChatGPT, pre-generative AI, right? This is back in the day when corporates were investing $1 million in a proof of concept for a chatbot.
Yeah.
Which we can do for, $100 now.
Yeah. I mean, so what, just taking it back, first, what made you think in 2017 to launch or go into the AI route, right? When there was, me and Guy were just talking off air, the guys in the industry 10 years or 20 years ago have always been thinking about this conceptual about AI, but the normal Joe public 8 years ago would have never considered or thought or felt the need of AI.
So I've been a tech marketer all my life, and back in 2016-17, I was working for, the sister company for the one that I was working for is Aria, which is a natural language generation company in Aberdeen in the UK, and they were employing like PhD people to write natural language processing, so a type of artificial intelligence. As a marketer, I was curious around how that would benefit marketers in contact center environments, right? So how to understand root cause analysis, what are the issues going on, how do we write responses better, all of that type of thing. So I became curious around how this AI thing was going to impact our world.
Yep.
And I went to a whole lot of vendor events around Auckland, met a whole lot of other people like me trying to figure this thing out. And we started a monthly meetup called the AI Show, and had about 65 people at the very, very first one. We ran that for 3 years. We were getting, 200-300 people a month coming along to that, and ran two big international AI conferences here in Auckland in 18-19 called AI Day. So really at the formative part of, I guess, the AI industry in New Zealand. But, of course, New Zealand's history with artificial intelligence goes way back. We've got some, incredible AI leaders, global leaders in our midst. So,
New Zealand, a lot of people don't realize is as much as, we're on the other side of the universe and the world, depending on who you ask, and we don't exist on most maps, is New Zealand is very forefront in tech for the size. We punch way above our weight in the tech space. That's why a lot of these smaller tech companies within a handful of years normally get bought out by the American bigger brothers and stuff like that from that, because the way we're thinking and pushing along there. But one thing I want to a simple question to put out there. So to some of my audience, okay, cool. Conceptually understand AI. The silly question I'm going to ask you, Justin, is what fundamentally is AI? What is it as in the tangible piece that someone can explain to someone else of what we're doing? Because I grew up as a kid as AI is going to take over the world, and it's these bad robots, and it's, Terminator and all of the rest of it. What do we see today as what is actually AI?
Artificial intelligence is the ability for machines to think or act like humans. The AI that most of us will be familiar with today is generative artificial intelligence. Tools like ChatGPT, which GPT is generative pre-trained transformer. They're prediction engines, right? So they're great at cultural learning, right? All they're doing is we've scraped the internet, everything that humans have published, and an AI system has ingested all of that and basically is able to build, using math, is able to build a prediction model around what's the next word in that sequence, what's the next pixel in this picture, what's the next sound in this audio file. So it's a prediction engine.
So going on that point of a prediction, and I know someone told me a while ago, is it predicts the next word, but does it build a logical, so this is where it gets a little bit interesting, right? And it might get a bit geeky, right? It predicts the next word after the previous word. But why can't it just predict the full sentence answer from the question without predicting word after word? Now, it does this in like millions of a second. So when you read the response, it looks like you go, hey, what's the average weight of an apple? And it'll come out, the average weight of an apple is whatever, 200 grams, for example. It looks like it's a linear response, but actually, if you look at the code, it's word after word. It's not calculates the answer and puts the answer in there.
So getting me to explain tokens is probably a little bit above beyond me for this.
Yeah.
We're starting to see perhaps what you're getting at. I mean, we're starting to see advanced reasoning. So being able to see an AI model think through its response.
Yep.
And this is one of the groundbreaking changes that the Chinese model DeepSeek R1, which came out a couple of weeks ago, has really changed, right?
Yep.
So if you ask it a question, you will see its response, and then it'll be like, oh, wait, what about this? Or, oh, wait. And so it's kind of self-checking as it goes through its response. And now, of course, a whole lot of other models are doing this as well, where before that thinking process would have just been behind the scenes, right? It's almost like you've got, a college grad, explaining to you how they're going to solve a particular problem, right?
So, I mean, everyone knows ChatGPT. If you've been, everyone has heard it in the last couple of years.
Isn't it remarkable when you think that every person in the world, for free, can access a digital assistant that has all the world's knowledge sitting in their back pocket?
Yeah. The free version up to a certain time in period, right? So
but you got web search.
Yeah. So with the new version of paid, right? You go.
No, it's free.
I've added. Yeah.
ChatGPT is free. You don't even have to create an account. You can use it. You can go to chatgpt.com, and anyone in the world can have access to this remarkably powerful digital assistant that knows everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally true. I use it. I'm sure most creators and podcasters and anyone else that has literature and stuff like that uses.
I'm going to go back to the point you made earlier around New Zealand being fast adopters for technology, which is somewhat true. Although with artificial intelligence, we're pretty slow. I mean, the maturity of adoption in New Zealand is still fairly low. Like, I think if you went into pretty much any business in New Zealand, there'll be somebody that will be using ChatGPT or our general AI tool. But the maturity of adoption in terms of thinking about those use cases and how it's actually going to transform their business over the next 6 to 12 months, I think still fairly limited.
I was going to actually just jump onto that point as the next point, because most common people understand as the AI tools you have at the moment, right, is your ChatGPT. You've got your DeepSeek that's just came out a couple of weeks ago that supposedly is way more stronger. Some guys in the corporate world will know about Copilot, but generally everyone thinks as AI in New Zealand as your ChatGPT. So I understand this, the space of getting to corporate. What else is there for us, or where else is it leading toward in the corporate? So the adoption might be low, but it might be because the perception of where's my benefit, or where should I use it in the corporate sense to make a benefit, right?
Totally. So there's a general lack of AI skills across New Zealand workforce. So where is it going to benefit? What's the ROI of using AI is something that we spend time helping companies with every day, every week, right? So yes, okay. So let's go through. We've got some general AI tools, right? ChatGPT with OpenAI one. You've got Claude from Anthropic. So got some personality, great at research and writing, high trustability. You've got Perplexity, which is by far one of my favorite tools. Perplexity was the first platform to have web search tied into it as well. It has multiple tools, so you can change the model that you're working with depending on what your task is. You've got Google Gemini, incredibly powerful, massive context window. A fantastic model. You've got Microsoft Copilot, which of course is built on ChatGPT with OpenAI. And so that's kind of that foray, if you like, into enterprise grade tooling.
Mm-hmm.
And the real difference is that your data stays within your tenancy.
That's a big word. I just want to jump on it. I know you were going to bring up here. So I just want to take a step back to the audience and staying on your tenancy. What that means is to anyone that's listening at the moment is if you're in the corporate world, your tenancy is your corporate environment. And so if you're using ChatGPT provided, let's say I'm working for BNZ just as a shits and giggles. I'm not, but let's just say, and if BNZ provides you your ChatGPT tool as part of your workplace, that version of ChatGPT, we link to the tenancy of BNZ. So that's where the data saves in. I knew you were going to drop that. I knew I had to just go into that because I know there's something you've worried about before, and I'll let you go in a second, is the BYO.
You're reading my mind.
Yeah, BYO AI. I told Justin off here because when we spoke last week before the show, you were worried about what we're going to chat about. I said, don't worry, I'll stalk you very well. And most of my guests get really freaked out because I know the stuff I can. But yeah, so I just wanted to make sure to cover that off on the tenancies, what the corporate owns, compared to you just coming with your own personal laptop to work with your own version of ChatGPT. Yeah. Sorry, Justin, you continue.
So that's the biggest security risk for companies is shadow AI use, right? Yeah. So we've seen examples of even government departments previously that have banned the use of ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. And all that does is mean that humans want to be more productive and more effective at work, right? We want to do well. So naturally, we're going to bring to work the tools to enable that to happen, right? And if ChatGPT is sitting on your phone or on your laptop in the browser, and as a business, you've then got no visibility over what data is being shared or what IP is being created with the interaction between your data and the artificial and AI, that could be immensely beneficial to you. And so it's important as employees that you understand you may be in breach of your employment agreement if you are using third-party AI tools that interacts with your workspace, right? You're adding a third-party tool to Outlook or your whatever email tool you're using to help you draft responses. All of your attachments, all of that information is potentially being sucked out and stored in a server somewhere and being used to train an AI model at some time in the future. You don't know how it's going to be used, right? So keeping it in your tenancy is really, really important. And Microsoft Copilot is a really great way for any business to provide a safe space for their employees to be using AI. Now, of course, Google Workspace, similar. ChatGPT, OpenAI has a business account. Perplexity has an enterprise account. So, you've got these tools now to create a walled garden around that, AI interaction.
So totally. It's an interesting space because, like, a lot of people that do multiple jobs. So, we joke, I've got a day job and I've got a night job. So, I've got a day job that has a day job laptop, and I've got a night job that has a night job laptop. And sometimes there is also a challenge of using ChatGPT just on my phone and go, hey, can I do this? What is this? What is that request? And sometimes it's as simple as just asking it something, or can you research something? And there's never a problem in that space. But like you said, it's when you're in a large corporate, right? And I remember being in one of my previous contracts, and our assist developers were asking ChatGPT to write code for the configuration they had to put in. So again, I know this is geeky shit, but they were going to this tool and say, hey, here's my day job. Can you do my day job for me? And it spat out,
here's all of our code, so you make it better.
Yeah, and it spat out the answer. And literally, when you're coding, it is a copy and a paste. If the code's accurate, it's a copy and paste, and you implement, right? And you started seeing the benefit from that. But that gets into that whole interesting space that I know a lot of people, specifically in New Zealand, and that's maybe why the uptake isn't as strong as the ethical feel and the implications of, if I implement AI, will it impact my workforce? So theoretically, it's going to impact my workforce to the benefit, but is it going to be a detriment to headcount? Is the one piece, right? And then the ethical implications of, Is it always accurate? How's it been peer reviewed? What's happening with the data as well?
Okay, so let's tackle those first. Will AI take my job? Right. Let's and then we'll talk about the accuracy one second. So at the moment, AI is really good at doing certain tasks well. Right. We're seeing a lot of people using these AI tools for search. Yep. Right. And we've got to get past search to research assistant, right? So there's that part of your job is going to be knowledge recall and content creation. Large language models that we've mentioned are going to be great at those two things. But the majority of your job is likely to be EQ based. It's the relationships, it's the contextual understanding, it's your domain knowledge that sets you apart from any technology or AI tool. So businesses should be thinking about, and team leaders and managers should be thinking about, how do I augment my team with artificial intelligence so that they can become more effective, more productive, get more job satisfaction, don't have to wake up in the morning and go, got to do that bloody report today, or I've got this tedious, repetitive job that I have to do, right? AI should be able to do all of that. And so we just have to start thinking about how we integrate it in to everyday life to free up people to do the higher value, more meaningful work that AI is not trained to do yet.
So that's your expectation, is to replace the remedial, repetitive work. But one thing I'm going to challenge on there, because I know I use it personally in this instance, you can build an AI to a profile or to a person, right? You can feed it enough information. You can feed that Cookie Monster, and then it knows Lawrence. I've got on ChatGPT now, I've got Lawrence that exists as an entity. So, and I'm assuming you do as well. And this is where the thing is going.
ChatGPT is the world's greatest consultant that knows nothing about your business, right?
Yeah.
So with any AI model, in order for it to be smart about you, you have to tell it about you.
Yeah, totally. Right? But this is where I also want to challenge, and I know that's where people are going to go, great, it takes away the reports, takes away the crappy admin shit I've got to do every single day. But in the back of my head goes, but at what stage does it take away me? Well, and I'm going to challenge on it, because this has always been the AI worry from like day one, right?
If you go and talk to the CEO of Klarna, they've been developing their AI model in their customer service and across their whole business for several years now, and they are significantly reducing headcount, right? So the question is around adoption, right? And if businesses want to be more effective, more productive, more efficient, then they are going to be increasing the use of AI, right? If you want to be competitive in the labor market, and you want to be able to go and win that new job, I highly recommend you get and promote your AI skills, because employers are going to be looking for people that understand that we don't start a job from scratch anymore, right? So that is going to be a natural evolution. There is, so I'm going to add a couple of things in here. One, global population is declining, right? We are not going to have enough people to do the jobs. We need AI to support and augment that in the future. Secondly, jobs are going to change. The pace of change, and this is what's freaking out so many people with artificial intelligence at work, is that it's changing so rapidly, right? Almost 10xing every 3 or 4 months. So, jobs are going to disappear. It might be that a company only needs 3 lawyers and not 10, or 2 customer service people, not 20. And so that might just mean that skill set gets more evenly distributed across businesses. But there is also going to be new jobs that get created out of this, right? So it's evolution. It's not the end of humanity. Meta's AI leader, Jan, says, AI is not even as good as a cat yet, right?
Yeah.
So, we're a long way away from anything that,
is dangerous, in a word, inverted commas.
Like, people talk about artificial general intelligence. Like, we're a long way away from AI having, maybe in really specific use cases, or specific topics, maybe in a narrow way, we might get something like that. but I think we're a while away from, AI being able to take a whole lot of jobs. Although, when can we get to the point where we have a one-person billion-dollar business? Yes.
Theoretically.
People are working on it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest challenge, not biggest challenge. I think it's the biggest thing that the geeks in the world love it because it has the benefit to them and doing this on the tools. A lot of people that don't understand it could be afraid from it as well because of that impact of, and it has a benefit, but by having the benefit, it is like my dad, my old man, he used to have it. Like he would never take leave at work when he was working, 20 years ago. And he had this concept that if I ever take leave and the company survives, why do they need me? So at one stage, I think it was like for 2 or 3 years he hadn't taken leave. He got told to go on leave for 6 months because he had so much leave accumulated. And they were like, you have no choice. And that was the concept. And I think there's also that whole, we are in the society as well, it's like we said, 7-8 years ago, the common man didn't know what this tool and those tools existed. And now it's coming through thick and fast. And yes, let's implement it. It makes a benefit here, but always worried of what's the detrimental impact to our day-to-day life.
Let's not beat around the bush. If you're not learning AI skills, you are falling behind.
Yep.
If your business is not using AI, you are at risk of being overtaken by any number of your competitors or a new incumbent, right?
Yep.
It is changing the way we work. It is changing what we do at work rapidly, right? Our workforce is going to change. The roles and the skills that we need are going to change.
Yep.
This is not let's wait and see with artificial intelligence. It is here now. If you're playing a wait and see game, that is high risk for you in your personal career and for your business.
So I want to come back to one of the points I raised earlier about the ethical implications around the accuracy and the bias and that sort of stuff. Now, obviously, it's a tool. It's a learning tool. So it always learns. I mean, the version of, what are we on, version 4, something like it, of ChatGPT now.
Who knows?
Yeah, but, from the first version to where we are now, I remember there was an imagery showing like how many searches could be done for a question on the first version to now, and it's like 1,000-fold or 1,000,000-fold larger and stuff like that. So it's obviously still learning. Now, human to human, you make a mistake, I'm management, I can talk to you, there's accountability, we can sort out. Where does that lay with the AI implications within a corporate world? If I use the tool and the tool is that 0.1% wrong.
So humans are way more than 1% wrong.
I understand it, but
if we can just get like even somewhat parity with human level accuracy, then AI tools are going to be pretty bloody good. I mean, so we're not looking for 99% perfection here. We ain't going to achieve that with our people, let alone our tech. So, let's park that. I think the important thing is shit in, shit out. Right? If you when you're thinking about deploying AI across your business, if you're feeding it a whole lot of rubbish content, you're going to get a whole lot of rubbish results out of it, right? So we have to think about the quality of our data and how that's organized and how that's presented. And for some companies, that's the roadblock, right? It's actually, we need to organize our information in the right way so that the AI tools are going to be able to search, interpret, reason, work with it in a good way. It might mean that we don't choose to give it carte blanche access to everything, because there'll be versions of all sorts of stuff and rubbish content. So we just give it the files that we use on a regular basis that are of a really high quality. So that's going to help improve accuracy, right? And the hallucinations that famously people kind of remember happen less and less and less.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's still a human thing that fast too. The change, we go back to that one mistake it made, not the 99 things it did right. And that's the way a lot of people in the world go on. And that's not the way I see it from AI, but I'm just saying a lot of people go on that one mistake it made and go, oh, what happens if that happens?
And that, we look at that with self-driving vehicles, right? And like I've got a 19-month-year-old daughter, and I don't think she'll learn to drive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think by the time she gets to 18 or 20 that she will be allowed to drive, or it will be so expensive for insurance to be for a human to drive a car because
of the risk. Yep.
Right? Insurance companies will only let humans drive a self-driving vehicle because the accident rate will be 1%.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. As we come in sort of the end of today's show, there's a couple of points I want to cover off in a sense of, firstly, where do you see the future? So if you could go forward 2, 3, 4 years in New Zealand, right? Where do you see, and if the adoption was correct, how do you see things different in that landscape to what it is now? So what is the future like of New Zealand with AI? That you would, the way you would want it to see it. Not saying, I know saying AI evolves daily. I'm talking about if you knew what you knew now, what would you want to see the corporate world or the business world or even the public world around AI utilizing it effectively over the next couple of years?
So knowledge is instantly accessible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter whether you want to find something out about how can the government help me with this, tax or whatever, whereas whatever you need to know to get work done should be instantly available, right? Number one. 2, the pace of change or business is fluid. Instead of a builder having to write a resource consent application and then send it to council, and then the council has to review it, the builder will be using AI to write that consent application, and the council will be using AI to review that consent application, and the 10% that actually need human evaluation or consideration will be done by a human. So things will move faster, right? We're not going to be held up because of red tape or policy or things like that. So things will happen faster, which will reduce cost for everybody, hopefully.
And what's your thoughts about AI in schools?
Bring it on. We're using AI in business. Why should we not be, teaching and training our children for the life that they're going to be walking into when they finish high school or university?
And the utilization of AI for their school homework, inverted commas? You know, when ChatGPT came out, the varsities in the schools had to go and put on filters because kids were doing their homework. And you're well aware of it. I mean...
So we have... Education is going to change too, right? The way that we assess knowledge and skills is going to change, right? So, and again, it's about interpretation. It's about contextualization. We need to teach people how to think. And, if you want to find out what happened on page 13 of, this book, then great. You can search that and find it out. And you can certainly get a summary of a book instead of having to read it. But when the teacher asks you a question in class, what was the relationship between the two characters, you're not going to know. So you still got to do the work, right? It's about supporting your education so that you have a deeper or better understanding of whatever it is you're doing.
True. I did love some of the hacks the professors did over in America. I don't know if you heard some of those, where they realized of asking like an essay assignment, and obviously people just doing a copy and paste into their tool. So what they started doing is they would go in the Word document, they would hide a word but make it white. So when you copy and pasted it in the tool, you wouldn't see that there was a word, and it'll be something as vastly different like an elephant or something. And when you spat it out, the answer would have something reference in this. So the professor could just look through your answer and go, search elephant, and if it popped out, they knew straight away you used a ChatGPT to get to the response.
We've all seen these AI writer checking tools things. Any of these general AI tools now have custom instructions where you can just provide it with a couple of pages of content that you've written, and it's going to be able to start writing in that in your style, right?
100%.
So we can clone our voice, we can do all sorts of stuff. I was using trialing a tool the other day, which has created a clone of me that will attend my Zoom meetings for me. So I can be driving or walking the dog while on the Zoom call, and on the screen looks like I'm in my office.
Yeah.
And the lips are moving and all that kind of stuff. And it's me talking.
Yeah.
But no one would know that I'm actually, not at my desk.
For now.
Yeah.
For now. Yeah, there's a lot of those little sneaky little tools. I mean, there's the chat bots that come and jump into a lot of corporates are still but hesitant about those because they obviously capture everything that's said in meetings. So where does the ownership of that information lay? But yeah, there's a real interesting space out there. Now, last question for you, Justin, because there's so much we can go down in this rabbit hole of AI, and I know a lot of people will be listening or watching will go, oh, what about this or that? So they can let us know. We can maybe do a round 2 in a few months' time. But is there anything that you have seen recently, heard about that is up and coming, something that's unique or different other than what we've seen the last couple of years? Because it's such a fast evolving space. There's obviously, ChatGPT, Copilot, all those fundamentally same as you said. Is there anything else that you've seen that you've gone, ooh, if this comes forward, this could be really interesting?
Oh, I guess we have to talk about AI agents, right? So AI agents are software that connect a large language model with data and processes. So at the moment, you've kind of got a Q&A engine, if you like, with these large language models, right? You ask a question, you provide a prompt, and it will write some response back to you, or it'll create an image or some music or a video or whatever, right? So now in terms of multi-step workflows, we can now create AI agents that will automatically go and find information via APIs, that will, you ingest a document, it'll evaluate it, or you might give it a CV. Someone's applied for a job to work for you, give it a CV, it then goes off and looks at their LinkedIn and anything it can find on the internet, and it comes back with, yes, I think this candidate is good, and then it will give you questions. So there's all of these kind of steps in this process that humans would typically do that AI is now going to be able to truncate down, right? There's a tool called Replit, which is a browser-based mobile phone app with a simple text prompt. It will create a mobile app for you, and you can see it coding the prompt on your phone.
Crazy.
Right? So the tools are there for people to make their life easier, smarter, do interesting, cool, amazing stuff with AI. It's like, just go and experiment with it. Like it's phenomenal. So AI agents, every employee, every business are going to have dozens of AI agents that will be running around doing different tasks for them in the background.
Yeah, as part of workflow. Because the biggest thing just on that point is, that CV check is actually a really good example. CV comes in, can you go and sniff the internet, come back and validate A, is it accurate, B, is there anything we need to worry about, and then see what we need to do next with this person or potential person. And the crazy enough is that would be maybe 60 seconds. For that agent could be a minute or 2 minutes, depending on how big or small this person exists in the digital universe. Where a human to do that, hours and hours and hours.
What are the 3 questions I should ask this candidate in the interview? Are there any red flags? Write the email to invite them to come to the meeting. If it's a no, write the email to say why we don't think they're a good fit. Recruiters don't often do that very well. You don't often get an explanation of no, you didn't get the interview. There's just there are tools for free to do this stuff in a heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
It's go and research your competitors, build me a strategy,
Oh, that's one thing that people so forget about is go research my competitors. That's one thing I think a lot of small companies are forgetting about, the capability of going, hey, I'm Joe Plumber, Sparky, corporate, mid-size, whatever. Even I'm a content creator. Go and research my competitor, sniff it out, and tell me where they're making good things.
We're located at this address.
Yes.
Go and find all of our competitors and then give it in table format.
Yeah.
Do a SWOT analysis for us, or compare how we stack up to our competitors and how we could win more market share, right? And this is multi-step.
And it's just as simple as that. It's exactly what Justin just said right now. You can go into the tool and go, exactly what you said. Copy the text from this video and put that in there. And it'll be real simple. You obviously want to feed it more, but that is as simple as it can be.
If you can ask a colleague a question,
yeah,
you can prompt an AI.
Yeah,
yes, there is advanced prompting tactics and all that kind of stuff, which, we teach people in the AI Academy at learn.NewZealand.AI. But for the most part, it's just, the single shot prompts, ask a simple question, build on those layers as you go down, working with the AI to expand that out.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for that, Justin. As I asked at the end of of my show is, if people want to hear, see more about yourself, where can they find you?
Track me down on LinkedIn or visit NewZealand.AI.
Awesome. Justin, thanks so much for coming on the show, the Wolf Country podcast today, talking about the AI models across the AI business in New Zealand and where it goes in the corporate world. I'm hoping a lot of people take this on and listen to it. I utilize a lot of this in my day-to-day lives. I know in the corporate space, some is seen it, some adoption, as you said, is quite low, and hopefully that changes going forward. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's awesome. And as always, thanks for coming over to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast, supporting the show and having a listen. Always feel free to reach out if there's any comments or so forth. If you want more questions for Justin, just hit it up whichever platform you're listening to or you're watching on, and I'll get them back to Justin. But as always, thanks for coming on and hope to see you again.